I'm author AJ McMullen, and if you don't know who I am, a sci-fi and fantasy author. Now, if you are an author like me, you probably have come along the name Luke Bateman. The news has been out for a while now. I think it's been almost a month for the most part. And I'm pretty sure everybody is done talking about it, but I had an interesting thought about it, and I think people need to understand. So I wanted to talk about it on this video because it is something that people need to know. If you're not familiar with my work, I have been writing sci-fi and fantasy for the last 14 years now. Pretty much ever since I came out of high school. I joined the Army, and I immediately heard a question that inspired a complete sci-fi and fantasy universe. And that universe today is known as the Aether universe or the Ether universe, depending on your dialect and how you say it. And that has led me to this magnificent book here called Legacy of the Arcane and Flame, which is the first book of my series. But enough about that. Let's talk about Luke Bateman. If you don't know who Luke Bateman is, it's perfectly fine. A lot of Americans wouldn't really know who he is because I think he's Scottish. I'm not really sure. I probably had to research that, or probably not. But all I know is that he is a famous rugby player. But get this. He just recently signed a 2-book deal with the publishing company in Australia. Here's the best part. He's never had a book before. So a lot of people are outraged on the internet because this guy in his magnificent white face has showed up on the airways, and he signed a book deal without having any experience of publishing, any experience of writing a book. The book isn't even written yet, and he already has a book deal for these books, and people are outraged about it. So I wanted to get on here and have that conversation because I don't necessarily agree with the outrage. Interesting take for you. Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of, speaking of outrage, I know I'm going to get a lot of outrage in the comment section. So I'll leave the comment section activated so I can hear you guys' taking opinions. Just remember, there's no need to attack. There's no need to be divisive in the comments. We all have our opinions. We all have our thoughts and feelings about certain issues. Now, I came from the self-development space. I'm a motivational speaker. I had a podcast that I did 270 plus weekly episodes of a personal and self-development podcast. I've been on stage to give motivational presentations to people, things of that nature. And the thing that I love the most about success principles is that you only have to learn the lesson once. And pretty much every industry and every walk of life that you travel, these principles are going to be pretty much the standard. They're going to be interchangeable no matter what you're doing, whether it is motivational speaking, writing a book, or owning a publishing company, music, whatever the case is. There has been nothing that I've learned in my life. And thanks to all of these books over here, I have a lot of self-development books over here. So I've been doing a lot. But what I learned is that all of those things that you learn in personal and self-development, they apply to every business model that you're going to come across. There's nothing that uses something completely different. So with that being said, I have an interesting take on this, and a lot of people are going to be offended by the end of this video because I'm going to, especially if you're a self-published author, I'm going to hit a lot of people where it hurts. But stay tuned to the end of this video because I think that we'll all come to an agreement, even if we disagree with Luke Bateman himself. Here's the deal. After the Luke Bateman situation sprung a leak and the internet started going crazy about it, pretty much after he responded to all of the outrage about his magnificent book deal, I came across a video on TikTok, and it was a young lady who was upset because she just got her 40th something rejection letter from a publishing agency. And this video had gone viral on TikTok. Mind you, this was the very first time I learned about the Luke Bateman deal. A lot of people were commenting on this video. A lot of people were liking this video. This video had gone viral. Everybody had seen it. A majority of the people in the comment section understandably, they were upset about the fact that this man had never gotten a book deal before. He has never written a book before, and therefore he doesn't seem qualified to actually receive a book deal, especially when you have so many other people in line to actually get book deals. And that's a very valid argument. Of course, there was the whole, black versus white situation. It's understandable why everybody is so up in arms about it. But what I noticed that was interesting was the background of this guy. He is already famous. So when you say he's already famous, we're talking endorsement deals, brand deals, and things of that nature. These things happen on a regular basis. So why is it that this one time everybody is upset about it? There's a lot of people who didn't seem qualified to do something, but they jumped into a completely different field that had absolutely nothing to do where they started, and everybody was welcoming them with open arms. Michael Jordan once played baseball, so it's not outside the realm of possibilities. It's not like history hadn't already touched this particular situation before, because we've seen it happen on multiple occasions. Sometimes it works out for the person who's doing it, sometimes it doesn't. But in this particular instance, only time will tell if this is successful for Luke, because at the end of the day, you still have to have readers that's actually wanting to read your story. So only time will tell. Even though he has the backing from the publishing company, he may not actually sell books because people may not actually want it. But I tell you what, because he is famous and because he is who he is, the publishing company who picked up these two books, they're going to make sure it is as successful as possible, because that is an investment for the publishing company. And hold on to that word investment for a second, because you're going to need to remember it. And when I say that this man, because of his celebrity, he got this book deal because of his celebrity, this publishing company is investing in him as a brand, not necessarily his book, because he doesn't have a book yet, but they know that because his name is going to bring a lot of readers. Because of his name, they're going to be able to invest a lot of different things, a lot of resources into his project. They're going to be able to pull a market that they may not have been able to touch before. Now, let's go back to the TikTok video that I learned about this instance from. This young lady who posted this video, and I had to comment on it and bring everything back to reality. Not to say I'm holier than thou, but I learned a lot along the way. There's a reason why I chose to grow an author platform before querying, because I'll get to that in a second. But I went back to this young lady's post, and I favorited it and all that other stuff like that, just to give it some wings in TikTok, because of the algorithm and all that. But I went back to her page, and she had, no lie, less than 100 followers. At that point, what I really found weird was that this video had gone viral and nobody could give old girl a follow to actually change her situation. If everybody who liked the post, or everybody who commented on the post, had just followed this girl, literally their situation would have changed. Her next query letter would have been to make or break. She would have been worlds ahead of everybody else, but because that's not how the internet roll, that's a conversation for a different video. However, what I wanted to say was, building your author brand is more important than anything. You're not Luke Bateman. I'm the furthest thing from Luke Bateman. I am a black man from Virginia. A lot of people are going to look at me and see the fact that I write sci-fi and fantasy, and they're not going to want to read it because of my skin color. I understand that. It happens. I've been told that. So before anybody gets in the comments and tell me that I'm wrong about my point of view, I've literally been told that. So with that being said, you're not Luke Bateman, and you're never going to be Luke Bateman. So the only thing that you could do as an author in your own space, or doesn't matter what you're doing, if you're looking to be endorsed by someone, you have to be endorsable. You have to have something to endorse. If you aren't pulling in a crowd and people aren't dropping to just to hear your name, then there's something that you need to accomplish before somebody is willing to invest a cent into you. Because if you don't have something that people are drawn to, put it this way, if there's this old saying, if you set yourself on fire, then millions of people will come from afar to watch you burn. And if you never set yourself on fire, and if you never ablaze, and nobody is watching you and nobody is searching for you, then there's not going to be a lot of people that are going to say yes when they see your name on the top of a manuscript. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never queried before, but I know the person that I was before I even started writing, before I even became serious and published my first novel. Yeah, this is my fourth novel that I officially published. And there was a lot of mistakes that I needed to make along the way. There was a lot of things that I needed to learn along the way. There was a community that I needed to grow that followed my content, that followed me as a person. If nobody is following me, I can't expect somebody to invest in me. And though that's the rule, but there are some people who are exceptional and they query and they actually get it. But there are humans reading these query letters that you're sending. There are humans reading these manuscripts that you're sending them. So if humans are reading it, then if a human says, oh, yeah, I've seen this name before. They have X amount of followers on TikTok. They have this many followers on Instagram. They have a video where they have a YouTube plaque behind them for X amount of followers, insert follower count here. We've heard of them. We've seen them. We've been to events and we know this person. People flock to this person. People know this person. They're going to bring X amount of people. There are literally people who go into meetings in big publishing companies like this and they pitch other authors to other board members or other executives. And if they're using graphs and charts and stuff, and if you don't have anything to fill those graphs and charts, then it's sad to say, but it's going to be less likely for you to be seen and noticed. And that's not a bad thing. That just means that you have a lot of time to figure out what you're doing before you get to the point. It's not a no, it's a not right now. So Luke Bateman, he built himself up. He built a whole career for himself. Think about it. Nobody is upset when an actor decides that they want to write a book and there's a publishing company ready to pick that book up. Nobody is upset about that. Literally nobody is. I have yet to hear about anybody who objected to an actor getting a book deal. Or maybe it's just because of the time that we live in and everybody is looking to cancel something. I don't know. Do me a favor and spend a little less time reacting on the internet about stuff and spend more time building you. Stop worrying about what other people are doing and build you. I was looking for a video to do self-development on this channel and I found one. Thank you for watching. If you got this far and you are willing to listen to this whole entire message, that means that you are on the right track to building your own brand. And I'm proud of you. If you're not even proud of yourself, I'm proud of you. So give yourself a hand. Hit that like and subscribe button and share this video to your author friends, man, because this is something that we all need to be talking about. We need to be on the same wavelength. Build yourself first and the rest of society will see your potential. Now, nobody is going to see your potential if you don't set yourself on fire first. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to offend nobody.